For the first cool mechanic, we have an inflatable mechanic, and all you have to do is place a down but not out device and copy these settings. And make sure that you assign channels to these two settings. And then I created an inflatable just for convenience, but you can always just like create something else if you want. I created an inflatable just for convenience, but you can do whatever you want. So I'm just gonna select this, and we're gonna place it in the water. And so essentially, you have a button that when selected will down the player, and then your water device will revive a player when they leave, so too. And you also have a perception trigger up here if you want, and when the player looks at this device, it also triggers on 2, so that it can get the player out. So if we test this, it should work. So we hop in, nothing's happening, but we want to grab this floaty, so we do, and now we're floating around, we're just swimming. And if we look up, didn't work, but that's okay, we're gonna fix that. Hold on. Sometimes things don't work. It's okay, it's okay. We'll get it to work. We are gonna grab this and we're gonna bring it down just a little bit, so that it's actually in invisible range, hopefully. If it doesn't work, well, that's kind of too bad. So for some reason we're glowing red right now. Kind of neat. So we're gonna grab our floaty, and now we're floating around in our floaty. If I look up, I start swimming again. If I want to grab a floaty again, we're just gonna float around. And of course, you can have a ramp like this over here on all sides, whatever you want, but once you crawl out, you'll see you get revived, so it all works out. Next mechanic, we're going to create some slides, and all you really need is a cylinder like this. You can always grab a glass cylinder if that's what you want, but you're going to place this down, increase it to a decent size, whatever size you want really, and we're just going to place it down. Now that's a pretty large slide, but let's see. Yeah, it really fits the player. Okay, we're good. So when it comes to a slide like this, I often want to like model my own curves, and if you want to do that, I recommend not that. First off, that was wrong. Decrease the height so you have like a smaller cylinder like this, and you can basically just take it off the grid and just like slowly bend it. Make sure it's lined up a bit, like that, and then you can take it off the grid and just angle it on the pitch however you want, but make it like as gradual as possible. So next up we have a sprinkler, and this is really meant for you to customize it however you want, but in general you want to have settings similar to this. Main thing is having a high gravity and long sprite duration, and increase the size over time just a little bit. And if you want to create different sequences, you can can always have the time between loops, anything you want. So if you want to have like a 2-second delay on this one and have a 3-second delay on the other, you can always do that. Of course, no summer is complete without some nice drinks, so I just picked some sanctuary props and ceilings, and I'm gonna create a little poolside bar. And so thankfully we have the item placer, and it's a pretty simple device. You just place it down when you're not in water. And I'm probably gonna put on grid snap 32 just to make things easy. And you can create whatever drinks you want. You can even use other drinks to create drinks, but I'm just gonna put a slurp juice down because it's just a good thing to have. So we have our slurp juice, and it should be placed. And you don't want this to be taken, so you're gonna add a button instead and increase its radius if you can. That's an issue. The collision on this item placer is huge, but you're gonna make its interaction radius pretty large, yeah. And we're gonna make this just any channel really, so we're gonna put us 3. And so when you go to pick up this slurp, it's gonna trigger on 3 instead because you can't actually reach it. And on that channel, it will trigger a item granter, which can be it'll trigger an item granter right here. And where is our slurp? There it is. I'm gonna drop it here. And you're gonna grant 1 received from 3. So now, when your player starts the game, they can hop in and get a drink. Grab it, and they have slurp juice now, and they can't steal the base slurp juice right there because the interaction radius is overlapping. Of course, no pool party is complete without some good music, so you can pull out the disco gallery and place a stage down, or whatever you want. You can create whatever you want with this. I'm just going to create a basic stage for this purpose. And next we're going to place down a video player device, or a radio device, whatever you want, but I like that the video player device has videos along with it, obviously. So we're just going to place this down, increase its size to a pretty large size. This is going to be our main screen, so it's pretty simple, but pretty important. Whatever size you want, really. This one is going to be on never select stream priority, and then we are going to create as many of these as you want, really, but we're going to have, you can just decrease the size as much as you want, but we're going to have, for the sake of this, we're just going to have 3 different ones. So we have the come on down, which is the butter barn one. We're going to have the jukebox joint, which is all of them, and we're going to have the current default party royale playlist. And so we are going to take control when receiving from whatever thing we want, and release control when receiving from a different channel. So 4 and 5, this one's going to be 6 and 7. And this is going to be 8 and 9. Now, at your turntable, the cool thing is you can create a custom music player just by adding a switch, which can be found somewhere, hopefully. So we're just going to assign these values to these, like this, hoping it's going to work. And we are going to place down our player spawner over here just make things easy. And we're going to test it, see what happens. Hopefully it's going to work. I don't know if it's going to work. We're going to find out. I hope it'll be fine. We're going to turn it on, and it's loading. And it's a Party Royale playlist. Great. We're going to turn it off, and it should release control just so that we can switch it over to this one. And it should switch over, and it does. So this is the other playlist, the one that does all of them. And then we're going to have the Butter Barn one play on now. The great thing is they'll never collide, so it's very easy. You can just turn on this one, and it's where the most recent one you turned on was. So it works pretty well. But it's a good way of keeping track. So you can actually just use a button for this if you want. Actually, never mind, you really can't. No, you can take control. So you can use buttons for these if you want. But I like the switch. The switch just looks a lot cleaner. But you have a working turntable now, so you can change the music, change the video. Make this size whatever you want. But now you've got a party in here. And of course, if you want to just like get a drink, you can just come over here, sip some slurp, and just sit back and relax and enjoy your summer.